I poured every penny I had into this place, a forgotten mansion by a lake nobody seemed to care about. It was a wreck, a beautiful, decaying ghost of a home. The roof was caving in, the walls were crumbling, and the lake. Well, the lake was more of a swamp, choked with weeds and debris. But I saw what it could be. I had a vision. So the work began. Every day, from sunrise to sunset, my team and I were there. We were mending the bones of the house, patching up the gaping holes in the walls, scraping away years of neglect. We dredged the lake, pulling out logs, tires, and who knows what else. Slowly, painfully, the water started to clear. We rebuilt the dock, plank by sturdy plank, until it reached out over the water like a welcoming hand. The house got a fresh coat of paint, a vibrant white that stood out against the deep green of the surrounding forest. Life was returning to this forgotten corner of the world. There were moments, especially in the evenings, when I just stand by the water's edge. The setting sun would paint the surface of the lake in shades of orange and pink, the water so still it was like a perfect mirror reflecting the sky. Birds would glide silently overhead, their calls echoing in the quiet air. It was pure peace. It was everything I had dreamed of, everything I had worked for. I wasn't just fixing a house, I was rebuilding a sanctuary. My sanctuary. Then, one morning they arrived. 3 figures in sharp, sterile suits, standing right outside my new gate. They held clipboards like weapons, their expressions unreadable but radiating an unmistakable air of authority. I walked down the long driveway to meet them, a knot of unease tightening in my stomach. They introduced themselves as the board of the local homeowners association, an organization I hadn't even known existed out here. The confrontation was immediate and aggressive. A woman, who seemed to be the leader, didn't waste time with pleasantries. She pointed a perfectly manicured finger at the lake, her voice sharp and cutting. "This lake," she declared, "is HOA community property. You have no right to restrict access or perform unauthorized renovations on it. We've received multiple complaints." I was stunned. Complaints? From who? My nearest neighbor was miles away. She shoved a sheaf of papers at me: bylaws, regulations, and a demand to cease all work on the lake immediately. They claimed I was a trespasser on my own property, or at least on the part of it that mattered most to me. Her accusations were baseless, I was sure of it. I had the deed, the property lines were clear. But they were relentless, threatening legal action, fines, liens. They wanted to take my dream away, to turn my private sanctuary into a public park for an association I never even joined. I told them they were mistaken, that the lake was part of the estate. They just laughed. "Prove it," the woman sneered. "Our records go back 30 years. Show us a document that says otherwise." Her challenge echoed in my mind. Prove it. I knew the previous owner was an eccentric old man who kept everything. If there was proof, it had to be somewhere in the house. I started searching, tearing through dusty file cabinets and forgotten drawers. Days turned into a frantic hunt. Finally, I decided to check the one place I hadn't touched yet: the sprawling, musty attic. It was like a tomb up there, filled with cobwebs and ghosts of the past. I spent hours shifting through old furniture and decaying boxes. Just as I was about to give up, my hand brushed against a heavy leather-bound trunk hidden under a pile of old canvases. I pried it open, and a cloud of dust billowed out. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed letters and old photographs, was a long, rolled-up tube of parchment. My heart hammered against my ribs. I carefully unrolled it. It was a set of original legal documents, the very first survey and deed for the property, dating back over a century. They were brittle and faded, but the ink was still legible. The beautiful, archaic script was accompanied by a hand-drawn map. And there it was, clear as day. The property line wasn't at the edge of the lake. It was drawn straight through the middle of it. The original owner hadn't just bought the land beside the lake. He had bought half of the lake itself. The document was signed, notarized, and filed with the county clerk in 1908. It was the ultimate proof. The next meeting with the HOA was on my terms, at my lawyer's office. The 3 of them walked in with the same smug arrogance as before, expecting my surrender. My lawyer, a calm and collected man, simply smiled. He let them finish their self-righteous speech about community rules and regulations. Then, without a word, he slid a certified copy of the original deed and the century-old survey map across the polished mahogany table. The lead woman snatched it up, her expression shifting from confidence to confusion and then to pure, unadulterated shock. Her face went pale as she traced the lines on the map with a trembling finger. She looked at her colleagues, who were peering over her shoulder with equally stunned expressions. The air crackled with their silence. They had built their entire case on modern records, never bothering to dig into the true history of the land. My lawyer leaned forward. "As you can see," he said, his voice quiet, but firm, "my client not only owns the land but also riparian rights to the center of the lake. Any attempt by the HOA to access, alter, or claim jurisdiction over his property will be met with the most severe legal response." They were utterly defeated, their authority evaporating in the face of history. They had picked a fight, and they had lost. I had won. My sanctuary was safe. It just goes to show that sometimes you have to fight for what's yours, even if it means digging through the past to secure your future. What do you think? Would you have stood up to the HOA too? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.